Welcome in. Want to do a quick episode leading into the Thursday night game here between the Texans and the Jets. This thing will kick off in about 20 minutes, so just some quick thoughts here leading up to the kickoff. Going back to last week, that performance we saw by the Jets in New England was abysmal. They crushed the Patriots in the first matchup of the season. Coincidentally, that was also a Thursday night game in East Rutherford. And to go up there and in a must-win, that there is no question about that. That game for the New York Jets was a must-win. To go up there and lose a game. It was a close game. The Patriots got him at the end, but the reality was the Jets needed a fourth quarter drive just to take the lead to begin with. That, ultimately the Patriots marched down the field and they win the game. It should have never been close, remotely close. Drake May, who, while it's a limited sample size, is clearly the best option for the Patriots in terms of getting this offense to click and look even, I don't want to say explosive, but I guess as explosive as this current Patriots offense can look. He goes down with the concussion. Brissett is in that game and basically guiding the Patriots down the stretch. And to go in there knowing what the stakes were, if you're the Jets, to lose that game, I don't care if you're in Foxborough. This isn't Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, Dynasty Patriots. This is one of the more sorry teams in the league. And not only do you not win, but this game was played so close that the Patriots, as bad as they are, as underwhelming as their offense is, they had a chance in this thing. This was never a game that looked like it was going in the Jets' favor. It was, how are the Jets trailing, or how are the Jets only ahead by less than half a possession? Less than a possession. The Jets should have won this thing by 10 plus points. I don't care whether it's Drake May, Jacoby Brissett, or Drew Bledsoe playing quarterback. There is no way that you can go into that game. I don't care if it's on the road. I understand it's hard to win in the NFL. It's hard to win on the road. No excuses for the Jets to go into that game and have it be that close to the point where you give them a chance on the final drive for the backup quarterback to come in and win that thing. Terrible job by the New York Jets. And it started, there were signs of this happening pretty much early on. I saw that the Jets, I looked up and I saw that they had a timeout left in the first quarter, and then they burned that timeout, which I had to double check it because I'm like, how is it the first quarter and the Jets have no timeouts left? You look at the score overlay, the graphic overlay, and I thought, hey, maybe it's a mistake, right? I'm watching on the red zone. I don't see every snap. And so, hey, perhaps this is just like some sort of glitch with, the intern there filling out the graphic for, I think the game was on Fox. And you're like, how do they have no timeouts for a game that, one, they're favorites in, and it's the first quarter? You have no timeouts left. You're in the first quarter against a lowly Patriots team that you beat by 3 touchdowns earlier in the season. Like, what is going on there? There was no rhythm to the offense. The Jets have seemed like, in terms of the way they run their offense, it's pretty much boom or bust for Breece Hall. He is their best player. Not Aaron Rodgers, not Devontae Adams. It is Breece Hall. If they can't get him going, they have no chance. And I thought Sunday was a great representation of when Breece Hall doesn't have it going, the Jets are in trouble offensively. And I don't think Gerard Mayo is I know he's comes from the Bill Belichick coaching tree, and Belichick's famous approach was always, well, take away the best thing that they do and let them kind of figure it out with the rest of the guys. And in a season where the Patriots, we knew coming into the year their offense was going to struggle. They just don't have the playmakers. But the defense, if anything, right, it's going to be the defense and the effort that keeps them in these games. They limited Breece Hall. And if you want to blame the play calling, execution, the blocking, the reality is the Patriots felt like they went into that game and said, you know what, Aaron Rodgers, go ahead and try to beat us. And I thought that took some balls, because when else in Rodgers' very accomplished career would you go into a game and go, hey, we're going to let Aaron Rodgers try to beat us? And I think that just goes to show that is who the Jets are this season. And if they can't figure something out fast here, this thing is going to just completely get derailed. Look, dropping to 2-6, they should have won a game against Buffalo on Monday night. They should have, if you look at the Jets' last 3 games, they lose to Pittsburgh, they lose to the Buffalo Bills, and I understand they didn't have Devontae Adams, in that Bills game, but you go, loss at home to the Bills, in which it was a game you should have won. You lose to the Steelers, get crushed by the Steelers, and then you lose to the Patriots. I got to look at that and go, what chance do you have if that is what the offense looks like, that is what the results have been? In the NFL, wins and losses is what matters. Not, it was a close loss, or, we won that game by 25 points. You win, you get a W. You lose by 1, it is a loss. And the Jets, that game to lose to the Patriots when you are going into a stretch where these next few games are going to be extremely challenging, you cannot be 2-6 coming out of that one up in Foxborough. And I really didn't think the box score told the whole story. Think about this. The Jets, for the game, had the leading passer, the leading rusher, the leading receiver, all game highs. They still lost. And I saw some takes that, Aaron Rodgers got it done. He got them the lead. He took over late in the game and put the Jets out in front. No, just stop with that. Stop kidding yourselves. It should never have come down to a situation where the Jets' defense, and their defense has been billed as one of the better defenses in the league and should be an asset for them. Regardless of that game, given the circumstances, given how much the Jets needed to win and how important it was that they got something going offensively, there is absolutely no excuse as to why that game was within reach late in the fourth quarter for the Patriots. Just an abject failure. Now, coming up with tonight's game against the Texans will be without Nico Collins, still in the IR. They lost Stephon Diggs last week. Looks like his season is now over. And so I look at this and say, the Texans roll into this game with basically the same squad they had last year, plus Joe Mixon. If the New York Jets cannot win this game at home tonight on a short week, look, you are the home team, you are the healthier team, and you are playing against a team who, yes, was very impressive last year, great young quarterback in C.J. Stroud. They are without Nico Collins, who was a big part of what they did last year, Stephon Diggs, who was an addition this year, right? And so you saw what he did kind of through the first half of the season. He's not going to be in the lineup tonight. And so you're essentially rolling out there with C.J. Stroud, Schultz, Tank Dell, Joe Mixon leading the charge at the skill positions. They are on the road. They're playing against a desperate 2-6 New York Jets team. The line for this game has moved. I can't think of a game in recent memory where a team, the Texans opened as a 1-point favorite on the road. Leading up to the game here, it is now Jets -3. If you are a 3-point favorite at home against a banged-up team who is traveling on a short week, if you cannot get this game, look, I already think the season is over. Mathematically, you drop to 2-7 tonight. If you're the Jets, there is no coming back from that. I don't care. You could put Patrick Mahomes onto the Jets tomorrow. They are not going to make the playoffs if they are 2-7 coming into, or going into Friday morning. So Jets, I don't have any thoughts on favorites. I'm not going to tell you who to pick tonight, but it sure feels like if you're going to make a money line bet, feels like the Jets should be the choice. But given how we've seen these last few weeks go and just how quickly things are probably going to get out of control if somehow the Jets don't win this thing, I would pick the Jets money line. Again, not telling anybody to do that because they have been pathetic. They started 2-1. They're now 2-6. That's really all you need to know. And I don't think this is realistically going to happen. But one thing I want to put out there is if the Jets somehow can't get this done, I don't care if they win by 1 point tonight. I don't care how pathetic or constipated their offense looks. If they win, they go to 3-6. Again, I still think their season is over, but it's not 2-7, and it's not mathematically an almost impossibility. But if the Jets lose and they go to 2-7, then I think you start to have to question, well, what's the plan going forward? Is Aaron Rodgers bought in? Is he going to play the rest of the year? Is he going to come back next year? And the reason I think that becomes a huge question is you just traded for Devontae Adams. He has barely been, what has it been, 10, 12 days since he arrived and started practicing with the Jets. If you go to 2-7, I think we start to have to question, well, how long is Devontae Adams going to be a Jet? I don't know if that means he's traded within the next 5 days prior to the deadline, but I think all of this hinges on what is the plan going forward for Aaron Rodgers. And it's hard for me to look at this situation and say, Rodgers, who, look, nobody planned on it, not Rodgers, not the team, to miss a full season, to watch the team battle, play really hard. The defense was obviously a top unit, and you had just trash quarterback play last year. This season was supposed to be last season, but with competent quarterback play. And no one is expecting or thought that Aaron Rodgers was going to be MVP 2020, 2021 Aaron Rodgers coming into this season. But if this thing goes sideways and he starts getting or starts giving you some weird answers as to, hey, what do you see as the rest of the season going like? What's the future? How do you feel? I think this thing gets really weird really fast. So it feels like the Jets have to win tonight. Now, we've said that really the last couple of weeks, but this is it. if they do not win, this 2024 New York Jets season not only goes from high expectations to crashing down to earth in a spectacular way, but now you go from we're not even halfway through the season and they have no hope. And that's where I say, what is the purpose for Davante Adams to play there if they're not going to the postseason this year? And we'll have to see what Aaron Rodgers' temperament is going forward. So either the Jets get this thing and go to 3-6, or it's 2-7 and this thing is just a complete dumpster fire. Now the line on this game, as I mentioned before, Houston opened as a 1-point favorite. They are now a 3-point underdog. I kind of like Texans as a push on the +3, right? Where, hey, maybe this thing is closer than the Jets would prefer, and they end up winning by a field goal late. Now, obviously, Zerline hasn't been Mr. Reliable, but I kind of like Houston at +3, not because I think they're going to win the game, but I think if this game is close, I don't see the Jets winning by more than a field goal. So Houston +3 looks good. Again, make the choice. It's at your own discretion. The over-under is 43.5. Feels like it could be an under game. Unless this Jets offense just comes out and completely surprises us and puts up 24 or 28 points, it's hard to see, given how banged up the Texans are and just how stuck in the mud the Jets offense feels like it is, to see this thing going over 43.5. But I'm leaning Texans +3 and under 43.5. As I've said before in previous episodes, I hope I'm wrong. I think it gives us more to talk about. It makes the season, makes the New York market more interesting, because obviously the Giants and their dog shit start to this season, they're going nowhere. They are not going to be involved in the playoff picture. But wouldn't mind seeing the Jets piece this thing back together and at least keep it interesting for a few more weeks. But as I said, this thing goes to 2-7, might be equally as entertaining the rest of the way, and kind of how things shake out with Rodgers and Adams and the future of this Jets team. We'll see how it plays out tonight. Thanks for listening.